Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal and I'm on my way off to go and see what I like to call the branch office. In other words, I'm off to go and see Benji, Judy and the children. Now, I heard from my viewers, who obviously always know more about my life than I do, that it might end up that Judy is away. In which case, this will be a working weekend. And I say a working weekend because when I'm down there and Judy's not around, we're inclined to do a lot of business stuff, which is wonderful. I mean, I love it. As well as the children's stuff, obviously. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm running a little bit behind, about half an hour behind. In fact, an hour behind. So here is my feeling about running an hour behind schedule, which is totally my bad, because I didn't get off the broadcast as quickly as I meant to, and it took me slightly longer to do the last minute packing up. And I've just realized that I haven't eaten anything all day already. I was going to grab a banana or an apple and then realized I've got to go across the border and they don't like it when you're carrying fruit, so I didn't want to do that. One of the things I carry in my car for emergencies, in case I ever have them, are protein bars. Do you carry them in your car at all? And I've just realized I probably got a couple of them. People walking, pulling a cart. Wonder why. So, just came off a really fun broadcast. For some reason we were talking, of all things, about printers and printer ink for quite a while, because everybody's got different printers and have different reasons for having them, and that makes it very interesting, especially as I am about to become a crafty person again. Yay, so exciting. I'm really looking forward to doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Now, I'm hoping that the wait at the border isn't too long. I believe that last time I checked it was about half an hour, but you know, it can change in a heartbeat when everybody and their dog decide to suddenly come down to the border at the same time as I do. And I can normally tell how bad it's going to be round about, yeah. I'm not stopping at the duty free this time, but normally if it's going to be pretty packed, which I think it is, it'll start being pretty packed around about now. And I think just around the corner, no, not too bad. I would have expected it to be worse than this, quite honestly. Well, maybe half an hour or so. Good. All right, so what I wanted to do was have a discussion today, start a discussion, and maybe we'll do a bit more during the next few days. And it has to do with breakups of relationships, and whether that's a breakup of a relationship between you and your boyfriend, or you and your best friend, or whether you and your parents, or whatever. It's all the same sort of stuff, unfortunately. But the reason I want to talk about this is that there was a viewer that wrote to me about this, and for some reason, for which I have no reason whatsoever, I clean forgot to actually address the subject, and I am forever sorry about that, and I hope she's still a viewer. So I have been through a number of breakups in my life, more than you want to know about, quite honestly. And I've had them in almost every area of my life. And all I can say is, at this great age that I'm now at, I'd like to tell you that if I've learned anything from all the breakups that I've had, and the people who have betrayed me or let me down or lied about me or whatever, you know, when I look at all those things today, I have to tell you that for the longest time in my life, they turned me into a pathetic pretzel. I don't mind admitting that. And I'll go into that a little bit more once I get a little bit further into the story. The difference, I think, today, and this is, I want to say this at the get-go because I'm hoping it will give some of you hope, is today I have to say that although they still affect me, and they do, without a doubt, they still affect me, not for nearly as long. I really realize today that nobody gets to control my life that much anymore. That sounds pretty harsh, doesn't it? But it's like, I now know that I'm so convinced, you know, that really some people come into your life for a reason, some for a season, and some for a lifetime. And the sad thing is, the ones that you think are there for a lifetime, sometimes are not. One of the questions that this young lady asked me, and oh, I so related to it. She said, I've been through this breakup in my relationship, and why is he happy and I'm not? Ugh. How many of you relate to that one? You know, I read that and I could feel the pain in my heart when I read it. Because I remember that feeling so well. How dare he be happy? And I quite honestly changed my life so many times because of that. And when I look back on it now, I guess each time I learned a bit more of the lesson. It took me a long time to get it to where it is today, and it's not good today, quite honestly. But the reason, very simply, if I can start with this, the reason that he's happy and you're not is because he's moved on. And I know the question is, how can he possibly say he loved me and move on? Well, guess what? Some people can do that. Some people love out of sight, out of mind type love. And some people truly are invested. And so there's part of me that goes, if this person in your life has managed to move on in a heartbeat, then with all due respect, I'm not sure that that's a great loss. Do you know what I mean? But maybe on the other side, they are more emotionally equipped. What do I mean by that? You know, we have two sorts of intelligence, and you've heard me talk about this many times. There is the IQ intelligence, which means that you know you can get rated on some scale that tells you the world that you're actually clever or dumb as two planks or, you know, genius, whatever. But then there's another intelligence, which they call EQ, which is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is how far do you let the world shift how you feel? When somebody gives you a funny look, do you react to it? Do you wonder, why did they give me that funny look? You see, people with emotional intelligence go, strange look, fine, and move on. But some of us will worry about that for a day or two, and why did the boss give me a funny look then? And then they'll probably even try and find out from other people, is there a reason why the boss is giving me a funny look that you know of? And other people are going, no. You go, okay, just thought I'd check. You know, so you look at it and it can really take up your day. That's an emotional intelligence thing. Whereas other people, as I said, can literally see it happen and go, okay, onwards. They don't let it mess with their day. So the problem that we have really has to do with how invested we are emotionally. Now you're saying, how can I be in love and not be emotionally invested? I would ask that question. How can you be in love and not be emotionally invested? Well, I've met some people. I can remember once talking to somebody, and she and I were doing a business trip, and we got into a discussion about the fact her husband had gone off with the boys to go and play golf while she and I were doing this business trip for a week. And I don't know why, but that part of me that was then different said, aren't you worried about what he might get up to? She said, what? And I said, aren't you worried what he might get up to? And she said, no. Why would I be worried? Well, I said, boys will be boys, the usual sort of thing. And she went, yeah, if he does anything that messes with our marriage, it's over. He knows it. It was that simple to her. She had that much trust, and he apparently had that much understanding, and she had no concerns about it at all. And again, I would ask you, how many of you feel the same way, and how many of you going, wow, I wish I were that confident in my relationships? And I couldn't help wondering whether the reason that she was so confident in it was because she was that clear. Just know, you mess with the rules of this relationship, it's over. So if you're going to make a choice, make a good one. Now, those of us who are emotionally involved will worry ourselves to death the whole time. What's he up to? And you think about it, it's pretty controlling, in a way. And how many stories have you heard of men who want to know every moment of their wife's day? Well, what did you do while I was gone? Or actually some, and you've heard of them, where they won't actually allow the wife to leave the house without getting permission. Pretty controlling. I own you, therefore I get to discuss and know what you're up to.